So you're thinking about buying a car? Here is your auto market update. Pops, before we jump in, let's introduce ourselves. You sold cars for a long, long time, and I'm your son. Those are our qualifications, I think.
Between us, we have 43 years of retail automotive experience. I have all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, but I started CarEdge with my dad almost 4 years ago. We've helped more than 60,000 people buy a car back on CarEdge.com. New car market, used car market, and we'll talk about APRs as well. We do these videos quarterly. If you're interested in them, obviously subscribe to the channel. Dad, the new car market update, let's do the 6 bullet points to set the stage here. Inventory has increased substantially in recent months, up 22% since the fall of 2023. Some brands have incredibly high inventory, Stellantis and Ford, a lot of your domestics, while other brands still have below average inventory, Toyota, Honda, Subaru, for example. Even brands that have low inventory are significantly higher here in January and in the first quarter than they have been in the recent past. And interest rates are putting pressure on both dealers and consumers. Negotiability is increasing, and leftover inventory from last year, it's out there. There are more than 800,000 new cars for sale that are prior model years that still have yet to be sold. Those are your 6 bullet points to sum up the new car market. Your high-level take on this before we dig into some of the details.
Oh, I think we're done. Now, obviously, with inventories rising, even for those brands that have lower day supply than everyone else, their inventory levels are still up. So with inventories rising and the cost to finance that inventory to the dealership, we are seeing that dealers are much more motivated today than they had been even 6 months ago when it comes to discounting the products that they have in order to sell them.
Let's quantify that a little bit. We talk a lot at CarEdge about market days supply. That's something that we're really passionate about because it's our best measure of supply versus demand. Market days supply is how many days it would take to sell all available inventory of a particular vehicle based on the current sales rate. Dad, Cox Automotive, in their most recent data, they have shown that the new vehicle days supply, so they're not talking about one particular vehicle, they're only looking at the cohort of all new cars for sale, has increased 17 days year over year. It's a little tricky to see here, but the orange line was last year. That actually went above 2020 vehicle days supply at the end of 2023. We are in a lot of ways back to pre-pandemic car market, new car market in terms of days supply of inventory. That's a return to form because for a long period there, we were in a totally foreign car market where there weren't enough vehicles to match demand. The supply and demand were totally out of whack. This demonstrates that it's back to what it was like before the pandemic.
What it realistically shows and forecasts is that the seller's market that it has been for the past 3.5 years, is suddenly becoming a buyer's market. Once inventory levels outstrip demand, then suddenly dealers have to react in a slightly different manner than when there was more demand than there were cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like we've been talking about, different for different brands. So look at the chart of market day supply broken down by brand. Again, Toyota, Honda, Lexus, Kia, all down well below average days supply of inventory. But then off to the right, your domestic brands, even Mazda and Volvo, for example, have a lot of inventory, Infiniti as well. So yeah, your brands that have a lot of inventory, Ram, Lincoln, Dodge, Audi, Jeep, Buick, Ford, Chrysler, and Mazda, those are brands that have more inventory than their peers. The brands that have not a lot of inventory, Kia, Subaru, BMW, Toyota, Lexus, and Honda. And the examples are all over our website, Dad. Ram 1500, 2023 Ram 1500, 236 days supply. 2023 Ford Mustang Mach-E, 369 days supply. 2023 Dodge Charger, 498 days supply versus that Kia Telluride. Yes, you can get it under MSRP in today's market or at MSRP, but still just a 32-day supply. That Honda Civic, a 38 days supply. That's your dichotomy in the new car market.
And if I may, just because some brands have a higher day supply doesn't mean that they're not selling. For instance, Mazda was on that list of having a higher day supply than normal, than average, than the nation. And yet their sales were up, I think, 42% in December. So some brands with increasing inventories are figuring out ways to sell them and having record months doing it.
And one of the ways they're doing that, Pops, is through incentives.
Yes.
The incentive spend by manufacturer. Mazda's a great example. They offered 0% financing up to 60 months on most of their lineup in December, and they sold a bunch of cars. Crazy concept. I've even heard from some of our Toyota dealer friends that they're also seeing stronger APR incentives. So we are seeing, and that's what this chart on your screen shows you, the blue line is a representation of the percent of the average transaction price that's made up for from incentives from the manufacturer. It's climbing, and it will continue to climb, and that will be one of the tools, one of the levers that the automakers pull to help offset the growing days supply of inventory on their dealer lots.
History suggests, and hell, I spent 43 years in the business, history suggests that as inventories build, manufacturers come up with more incentives. It takes a greater incentive to incentivize the customer to come in and buy the vehicle, whether it be special subvented APRs, 0%, 0.9, 1.9 for 60 months or beyond, or whether it's cash rebates. But what we will see is that the percentage of incentives in comparison to the transaction price will continue to go up. The historical rates were they used to represent about 10% of the transaction price. Today, it's about 5.8, maybe 6%. That number will continue to rise as we go into 2024.
All right, so let's wrap up new cars and we'll switch gears and talk about the used car market. It's a buyer's market. It's a good time to buy a new car. Be skilled, don't go in and just, get hit over the head with a market adjustment. We're still seeing dealers try and pull shenanigans like that. Be prepared to have a large down payment, and really you're going to need a decent credit score, a good credit score to get approved. We're seeing auto loan rejection rates higher than we've seen in the past as a result of some constraints being put on lending. And then remaining 2023 inventory represents a great opportunity for customers. There's 800,000. We have an article that just went out on the CarEdge website of remaining, model year inventory. Take a look at those that have been sitting longer. Those represent opportunities.
If you are someone who typically keeps a car a long time, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, it doesn't matter whether it's a 2023 or a 2024. And so if you can save money buying the 2023 versus that 2024, and you're going to keep the car for 8 years, buy the 2023. Take advantage of those savings. Over the course of the time you keep the car, it'll represent a much better value to have taken advantage of that savings today.
Used cars had been selling for more than their original MSRP for many months back in 2023 and 2022. Now prices are finally starting to cool down. Luxury vehicles, vans, and trucks are seeing the steepest declines. And used car auto loans, the average in the United States is around 13%. Those are your key bullet points on the used car market. Manheim, which puts out their Manheim Market Index, they have actually seen a 56% decline from the pandemic highs. So when prices went up super, super high for wholesale prices. So we've seen a 56% decline from the highs that we saw in the wholesale market. And on the retail side, we've seen a 36% decline. So 53% on wholesale, 36% on retail. So used car prices are coming down, have come down. They still are coming down from Mount Everest, man. They went up like crazy.
And that's the problem for many people out there. They're looking at the numbers and they see that they went up 56%, and yet they've come down 30-some%. And to customers, that doesn't seem like a significant enough drop. The truth of the matter is they're never going to drop enough to please customers. I mean, that's just part and parcel of the business. The price of the car is always going to be more than what you wanted it to be. But at least it's moving in the right direction.
The unfortunate thing is that usually retail prices lag wholesale prices. Now, so we have such a big difference between what's happened on the wholesale side, 53% decline versus retail, 36% decline. That is going to take time to show up in retail prices. And the reason I say it's unfortunate is because it has an immediate impact on trade-in values. So we are already seeing a negative impact on trade-in values. CarEdge.com/sell. Do not trade in your vehicle without first getting cash offers from various dealers in your area. But I think that's an important aspect to any used car buyer, is if you're trading in a vehicle, you need to be kind of aware of the fact that wholesale values are down more than retail values. So that means what they're going to be asking for that used car you're looking to buy is probably a little higher than you're thinking it should be. And your trade-in's probably not worth nearly as much as you want it to be. And their justification for that is, well, the wholesale prices have gone down significantly. There's a rub there that I think everyone needs to understand as they're navigating the used car market.
And it's a rub that customers don't really care for, but it is the truth of the situation. The value that's being asked for the used car is always going to be more than what you want it to be, and the amount that the dealer is going to offer you for your used car is always less than what you think it should be. What you need to concentrate on is that difference between what the dealer's asking and what they're offering you on your car. Work the difference number, not the how much are they selling it for or how much are you giving me for my car. Who cares? Just work the difference number. How much and my car.
Now, some good news. The fact that interest rates are so high, even though 13% is a tough pill to swallow for any consumer looking to purchase a vehicle, obviously get a pre-approval. Go watch some of our other videos that talk about that before you buy a new or used vehicle. The good news here is that because wholesale prices are down so much and interest rates are so high, there are pressure and forces that will push retail used car prices down as well. Dealers who are sitting on that inventory who know that a week from now they can't just go to the auction and sell it for a profit like they were doing back in 2022, 2023, also have a new cost center, which is paying interest and floor plan. Go watch our other videos that talk about floor plan expense. Those are things that are going to be pushing retail prices down, and those are, I guess, tailwinds, good things for consumers who are thinking about buying a used car in the not too distant future. The chart on the screen that shows APRs demonstrates how high they are. I mean, again, average used car APR close to 13%. The average new car APR, it's wild to think, but is over 9.5%. There are also interest rates on floor plans, what the dealers pay to hold that inventory. And that's kind of like the blessing in disguise here, is that's going to force prices down to simply get off of that inventory.
You either sell your inventory retail at the moment because you know that if you take it to the sale, you are guaranteed a loss at this point in time, knowing that you could take a car that you bought 6 or 8 weeks ago, that you're going to take a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 hit if you go to take that to the auction today. So dealers knowing that should be more motivated to work with you in order to get you a better price on that vehicle, so they then can afford to go to the auction and replace it for a vehicle that's going to cost them $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 less.
Our consensus on the used car market, tougher than average. There are opportunities, especially if you're a cash buyer, but please go watch our recent video about why you do not tell the dealer you are a cash buyer until you get to the very end of the transaction. So it's a tougher than average market, but there are opportunities. We expect it to continue to be a challenging market because we had millions, tens of millions of vehicles not produced during the pandemic. There's a ripple effect. We could do a whole nother video series about the downstream impacts of new cars not being produced in 2021, 2022. However, the TLDR here, too long didn't read, Pops, is that it's a tougher than average market. If you're a cash buyer, you can take advantage of that and be prepared on that trade, and you might be a little bit disappointed. Dad, if people are interested in getting their hands on free resources that can help them buy a car, where should they go?
I would suggest CarEdge.com, ladies and gentlemen. Click on resources. We have any number of free resources that are available to you, guides that can help you in negotiating a car deal, guides that give you an idea of what trade-in values are worth. There is so much free information there. Do yourself a favor, use it. It doesn't cost you a dime to get educated.
And slides are in the description as well. If you're interested in that, go take a peek at them, Pops. I will see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Again, subscribe if you're interested in this type of content. We'll do another market update in about a quarter. Thank you, Dad.
I'll be there for you. Thank you, handsome.